Hey, Life Bringers, thanks for jumping in. Whether you found your way here through the email or through the Life Bringers at Canyon Ridge Facebook page, so glad that you're hanging out. I hope that you'll jump into the conversation. The easiest way to do that is definitely on the Facebook group. So if you haven't found your way there, just go to Canyon Ridge Facebook page and click join the group. Or if you're receiving the email, at the bottom of the email, usually there's a link going straight to the group for you to jump in. And so many good stories, so much great encouragement to just hear what God's doing in people's lives across Canyon Ridge. It's good. Make the conversation better by putting your voice in there so that we can spur one another on. It'd be really great to have you there. Listen, this week, we're going to talk about where the kingdom grows. We used this frame last week of you've heard it said, but I tell you. And we just listened together at recent Lifebringer gatherings, and we've been talking about this in the Facebook group about what does it seem God is teaching us these days? Not in contrast or contradiction to what he's taught us in the past, but in addition, like enlarging, expanding the way in which we engage him and what he's up to. How do we really join in? And that's been a fresh look these last 6 months to not have weekend gatherings, and there's so much to learn. And so what we're going to talk about today is I'm just going to share a few stories from those gatherings that talk about where the kingdom of God grows. All of us as life bringers care deeply about people finding life in Jesus, and that Jesus would be king in people's lives more and more and more, more and more people and more deeply in all of our lives. And so where does the kingdom grow? As I was listening to Life Bringers, it just really seems like God is saying the kingdom grows at the edge or just beyond of our comfort zone. That as people take risks and take steps, that God meets them there, enlarges their faith, shows up with just the right provision and the strength of his spirit in just the right way at the right times. But people finding their way to the edge of the comfort zone is where this happens. I'm reminded of a guy named Charlie, and I should have got Charlie on here to tell his story. Maybe we will one of these days. But Charlie, I'm stealing your thunder, bro. He was there at one of our first gatherings and talking about just sitting on his front porch watching all these people walk by. New to Vegas, brand new to Canyon Ridge, but listen, just cares about people knowing Jesus. And so encouraged people, waved at people, friendly to people walking by, and noticed a lot of them had dogs. So he just bought a box of milk bones and started offering milk bones to all of the people walking by. He called it his porch ministry, but I'm going with milk bone ministry. I just love it, just right where he is, but taking some risks to offer to pray with people, to invite people closer. When it would be easy to just say hello and look away, or wave and let them walk on by, there's an engagement, a risk factor of showing up in people's lives, never knowing what's on the other side of an offer to pray for someone. That is a risky invitation. But I can't wait to hear all the stories of God, what he'll do in the fruitfulness of just this simple step into the lives of his neighbors. So good, right where he's at. Kingdom's growing right in that neighborhood. Or I think about another attender, Kim, I think, who said, listen, I felt like God was telling me to start a Bible study, a discovery Bible study with a family member who was like totally against all things church and Christian. And yet the story of what unfolded after that, the way she said it, if I remember it just right, she said, I knew it had to be from God because I never would have thought of that myself. And you could hear the risk, how just beyond the comfort zone that would be. And the fruit that is coming out of that, so good. We've got to get that whole story told here. Or another guy who was actually here at one of our gatherings on campus recently, and someone was lingering after service, and as he walked by, just sensing that things were really heavy and challenging in this person's life. And he took a risk. And he asked a question just one step beyond what you would normally ask someone in a conversation, and he got to show up in her life and pray and encourage and point her in the direction of Jesus. So strong. Listen, these stories and more, I hope, become an inspiration to you. But more than that, I hope you'll share some stories. Where has God been calling you to the very edge of your comfort zone? And you get to watch as God shows up and the kingdom is growing. Life is breaking in. Life is literally being brought by Jesus. And sometimes we're just dumbfounded. But our faithful step is to go right to the edge of the comfort zone and sometimes just a little beyond and watch God show up. I hope you'll share some stories. I hope you have some great conversation with your life group, with your families, friends, even some of your neighbors, and the way that God has shown up and the risks that you've been taking to join him right where you are. Can't wait to hear your stories. We'll see them on Facebook and in the comments on the vlog. We'll see you soon.